We are live outside of 500 Pearl Street, what I call the Diddy house, the Diddy courthouse, where Sean Diddy Combs has just been robbed, in my opinion, robbed of his freedom. The government and the Judge Sumerian, who I was trying to give the benefit of the doubt, contrary to a lot of what people were saying of the judge not liking Diddy and having disdain for him, they were correct. The judge used every single thing that the jury decided not to use against Sean Combs in sentencing him. This is a catastrophe. I think this is a letdown. I think this is a disgrace to the judicial system. The judge, and I will get through the whole day, I just want to come out here firing and let you guys know what I feel. This is a horrible day for justice. This is a horrible day for the justice system. The judge used every single piece of evidence to sentence Diddy to 50 years in months. The exact same evidence that the jury of Sean Diddy Combs' peers used to find him not guilty of SCX trafficking under force, fraud, and coercion. Everything. He didn't use anything outside of what happened in this trial. There should have been no reason to have a jury of their peers judge this case. I feel like my whole summer was wasted in this courthouse every day from 9 until 5 o'clock, sitting down, presenting to a jury. Why do that? Why bring a case to a jury of 12 of Sean Diddy Combs' peers, only for them to use the evidence against them in a non-guilty plea for RICO and SCX trafficking and forced fraud and coercion, and only find him guilty of the Mann Act, which is transportation of prostitutes across a law that has been literally said as one of the most exaggerated and horrible laws inside of the U.S. constitutional laws. Supreme Court justices and juries and other judges has said that this law should not be in the law books. That is the law that he's convicted of, and on top of it, you use the evidence that the jury decides not to use to sentence him to 50 months instead of time served. If you ask me, this is a disgrace. This is horrible what this judge has just done. The only one silver lining is that the pre-sentence report suggested 60 months and the judge gave him 50 months. That is the only silver lining. And it seems like now at the outset, 10 months is not a lot, but 10 months is still a year. So as much as I am discrediting this judge for everything that he has just done, I just want to be fair, as you guys know I am. I'll give him at least credit for taking those 10 months off and giving him 50 months, but the sentence should have been time served. That is what the sentencing should have been. This judge used every single piece of evidence that the jury decided to use to give a non-guilty plea. From the outskirts, this should have been a case presented to a judge without a jury. If this is what you guys wanted to do, if this is what the government's plan was all along, why waste all of our time? Why would you waste the taxpayers' time, Diddy's money, lawyers, people coming out here supporting for each side, if you were only going to not listen to the jury and let the judge decide? What is the point of having this in the Constitution? What is the point of giving a U.S. citizen the opportunity to be judged by a jury of his peers, only for the judge to turn around and take every single thing that the jury decided not to use and use that against him to keep him in jail for the next 50 months? This is horrible. This is such an injustice. This is another example of how governments, and not only American government, just governments worldwide, they leave laws on the law books so that they could charges like RICO that we know is a reach. They could charge charges like SCX trafficking and forced fraud and coercion, and they know that they might not get that, but then there's still laws on the law books like the Mann Act that they could just sit there, and how broadly it's written, where it was even amended in the 80s, saying that this should only be used for commercial activity, individuals that have multiple traffickers, where they're making millions of dollars. That's what the Mann Act should be used for, and you're using it over a man that hired an escort from Jersey and put them in an Uber to New York, and that is his charge? And then when you look to sentence him for that charge, you take every single piece of evidence that the jury decided to throw out and sorry, just ambulance is passing, 1 second. And you take all of that evidence that the jury decided was not beyond a reasonable doubt. It was not enough to convict them, and that's the evidence you're going to use to keep a man in jail away from his 7 children for 4 months. For 4 years, 50 months. This is horrible. I am going to break down the entire day as I normally do. Do not worry. I will break down from the morning. Y'all know, for my daily listeners, I'm going to give you the perspective, what people were wearing, how people were feeling, what people were saying, the motion and the attitude, the emotion in the court. For anybody who's new, just tuning in and logging in right now, that's what we do here. All my feelings aside, my emotions aside, what I feel should have happened aside, I'm here to give you the facts and let you decide. However, this is still my show, and I'm going to express to you what I'm feeling from sitting in this courtroom every single day and being in this courtroom and seeing the jury and reading the jury verdict and knowing what they decided, only to see a judge use every single thing against a man and put him in jail for 50 months. This is wrong. If I was Team Diddy, I would automatically right now be on the phone with Donald Trump and literally be asking for a pardon tonight. That is what I'd be doing. I'd be organizing a peaceful protest, very, very peaceful. This is wrong to me. This is wrong. I will take you guys through the day, but just my opinion. I gave you my opinion when the verdict was read. I give you my opinion. So what I do, I will take you through this, but I am worked up right now because I cannot believe that when the judge was reading the paper and when he was reading down his decision, that every single thing he used in this decision were things that Cassie and Jane said in court. He used their testimony from Jane and Cassie. Cassie saying that she feels like she wants to unalive herself. Cassie saying that she, the trauma that she's facing. And indirectly saying because Diddy didn't dispute that, because Diddy and his lawyers decided for Diddy not to testify and not to take the stand and dispute that indirectly, that means that everything Cassie was saying is true because she testified it and because Diddy didn't come and say his piece, which is his right under the Constitution and was the right decision for his lawyers to do, to beat a RICO charge that could have you face life. That was the 100% right decision, to use that against him and say, well, now, because you didn't contest and because you didn't give your, because you didn't take the stand and you didn't say what really happened, I'm going to take her testimony and I'm going to use her testimony against you and I'm going to keep you in jail away from your family for 50 months. I think it's wrong. All right, that is my spiel. That's why I had to get that off my chest. Y'all know I will let you guys know what happened through the whole day. I will get back to the chat. We could have a discussion. Y'all know me. I want to see things from both sides. That's why I was a little late in starting. I was talking with people. I was doing some interviews. Some people wanted to question me on how I feel. I'm up for the discussion. I'm up to see how you guys are feeling. Thank you for the super chat. Let me just get up and say, and let me heart these super chats quickly here. I don't want to super chat to pass. Thank you. Hold on, let me see here. Tangi Williams always giving me super chats. Thank you so much. We heard that. Thank you for the super chat. And then there was another one. Maybe it's Tangi again. Tangi's always hooking me up with the super chats. Hold up. Tangi again with the super chats. Diddy better give you a job. He's still making money on the inside. He too smart. This is not about Diddy. This is not about Team Diddy. This is not about Cassie. This is not about Jane. My plight and my opinion and my take is about the justice system and the laws and how they were applied. I am not saying what the judge did was illegal. The judge obviously knows what he's doing. That's why the thumbnail on this live is they use trickery and loopholes. And I have seen friends, people I know, people who I don't know, stories of the government across the world, not just the US, Canada, South America, across the world. The government has these loopholes and these tricks that they can use and apply to decide if they want to keep a man or a woman in jail, regardless of the outcome of what a jury decides. And I think that is wrong. Please do not take my emotions and my take that I think that Diddy is a great person. Please do not take my emotions and my take thinking that what Diddy did was okay to Cassie in that CNN video. That was deplorable. I have said every day on my live, the government and the people that are spending and taking all that time on energy with this, they should put that energy on DV and the statute of limitation. Diddy should not be able to not be charged for what he did to Cassie in that CNN video. He should be able to be charged for that. But because there's a statute of limitation on DV, they cannot charge him. That is the law that should be changed. He is on camera doing that, and the only reason why he's not in jail for that is because beyond the statute of limitation, there's no statute of limitation for unaliving somebody. There shouldn't be for DV. But again, this is about the law, and the law, what they just used in here to keep Diddy in jail for 50 months, in my opinion, is not fair, and you should not have had this be a jury trial. You should have just presented the evidence to the judge. It would have taken less time, and you have the judge give the verdict. You wasted our time, and you wasted the jury's time. If I was the jury, I would be so upset right now, and I can't wait for somebody to do an interview and get their take on it. Anyways, whoo! Spent 11 minutes getting it out now. Let me work for you guys, and let me give you guys what's going on. I see people disagreeing with me in the chat. Some people are agreeing. All right, here we go. Let me get to the day. Okay, so the day starts out with the courtroom very, very packed. Okay, and sorry that I'm not getting to. I see a lot of people going in the chat and talking. I will get to it. I have to do my job and give you guys the what happened today. It's a couple of pages. I'll try my best to go through it quickly, but there's some people that are tuning in to get the inside scoop of what is going on and take you through the day. Stick with me. We will have this conversation after. This is just my opinion and your opinion. Let's get to the facts of the day, and I'll try to go as quick as I can, okay? So, very, very packed courthouse. The House press got to sit in the jury box, so more people got to even be in there. The kids and the family came around 10 o'clock, were a little late. They were literally pushing some of the other family out to make room for his kids. That's how packed the courtroom was. If you guys who have been following me daily, this was almost a little bit more packed than when they read the verdict. And I think maybe it's because when they read the verdict, it wasn't planned and nobody knew exactly when the verdict was going to be read. But it was a packed courtroom today, okay? Diddy came in today dressed as how he was normally dressed. And by the way, I gotta take a little minute out. Shout out to Minerva. She made this sign for me. Tread out loud, New York corner. This is my corner. I came out the courthouse and there was like 5 or 6 out louders like holding the spot for me so nobody comes. So shout out to Minerva and the crew. All right, love y'all. Okay, let me get back to this. So I told you guys that Diddy last Thursday when they were trying to rule for the Tanji, thank you for the super chat. When they were ruling for Rule 29, Diddy was in his jail outfit. I told you he looked horrible. He looked broken. He looked just weighed down. Today he was in a cardigan and a white turtleneck, like a white collar, like I'm wearing right now, and that's what he was wearing all throughout trial. Okay, so that was what he was wearing. Still, his hair was very crazy, and his beard was really, really gray. Still looked really beaten down and really stressed. Okay. Like I said, they had to make room for the kids. Shocker, the first shocker of the day. At 10:15, can anybody guess who walked in the courtroom? Somebody who you will not think, I'll just wait to say in the chat. Somebody who you would not expect to walk in the courtroom. Somebody's letter who I read. I don't know if this has been out there and anybody's told you. Guess who walked into the courtroom? Yes, Gina walked into the courtroom. Gina. For those who don't know, this is victim number 3, the federal government victim number 3, and Diddy's ex-girl, okay? Diddy's ex-girl. And I'm gonna read you very, very quickly, for those of you who are new here, I'm gonna read you a very, very quick, why isn't my phone turning on? A very quick part of Gina's letter. Gina walked in the courtroom and she sat right behind me, directly behind me. She wasn't able to go in the family section. Like I told you, it was too packed. Now, Gina was allegedly supposed to be victim number 3. It was supposed to be Jane, well, it's supposed to be Cassie, Jane, and victim number 3, which now we know is Gina. And for months, nobody knew where Gina was. And even the prosecution was saying, hey, Gina is nowhere to be found. And then all of a sudden, 2 days ago, she puts out this letter, and I just want to remind you guys to show you how shocking this is. She said, Judge Sumeranian, I've been thinking a lot about this. I saw the press letter submitted, and I just wanted to tell you this. Nobody asked me to write this letter on anyone's behalf, but I felt like my voice needed to be heard as I was identified as victim number 3 in this case, and I understand that charges were brought concerning me, including accusations of SCX trafficking and prostitution. Listen to this. Listen to the government. How I told you they play tricks and they do stuff. Listen to this. Gina, victim number 3, who was in the courtroom today, one of Diddy's ex-girls, and who was supposed to testify against Diddy, this is what Gina wrote. I cooperated fully with the prosecutors. I met with them 3 times. I answered their questions. I gave them all the information and evidence I had, including pictures, videos, and text messages from my phone. During those meetings, I felt pressure to feel like a victim. I told them I was not, but they insisted I was, even when I expressed my truth otherwise. I understand they concluded that I had been SCX trafficked and involved in forced prostitution. I did not agree with those conclusions. Sorry, I did not agree with that conclusion. Sorry, this is really small print. I was not trafficked. I did not engage in prostitution with Sean Diddy Combs or others. This would have been my testimony had I been called to the stand. I was subpoenaed and fully prepared to testify and answer all questions truthfully, but I was informed by my lawyers that I would not be called to take the stand. Federal government, why do you have victim number 3? Tell everybody that victim number 3 is going to come and take the stand and testify against Diddy, then say she's nowhere to be found, only for 2 months for her to write the letter and say, hey, I was ready to take the stand, but all of a sudden you guys didn't want me to take the stand? What's up, bro? Thank you, man. And all of a sudden now, like, hey, y'all don't want me to take the stand? Why? Because I'm going to say I wasn't SCX trafficked? Now, I'm not saying that Jane and Cassie are lying, but if one of the victims were ready to testify, and then all of a sudden the prosecution doesn't call you, the prosecution decides not to call, doesn't that warrant an investigation into what the federal government is doing? There's a victim that's saying, hey, I haven't been trafficked. I'm not a victim, and the government is telling her she is a victim? Y'all don't see a problem with that? Okay, I'm just gonna continue. I wanna emphasize that I understand the seriousness of this case and the pain others may have felt. I cannot speak for others, but I can speak for myself. In terms of sentencing, I kindly ask that you consider releasing him back to his family. I understand throughout this process, he has been cooperative and respectful, including turning himself in. Throughout this process, he has never once reached out to me or made me feel uncomfortable in any way. I believe he will continue to be compliant with the court's condition upon release. I understand the accountability is important, and I am not writing to dismiss the gravity of these charges. I write to express my perception as a so-called victim. I write to express how I felt during the investigation and trial and how I felt now waiting to be sentenced. I felt compelled to share my perspective. Why wasn't that taken into account? How come Judge Sumeranian didn't say that when he was sentencing him to 50 months? How come he didn't say, hey, by the way, Gina, who's sitting down right behind Trent out loud, why don't you come up and say something? Why don't you say something about the government making you feel forced to feel like a victim? I don't know. Anyways, I talked with Gina, and out of respect for Gina, I'm not gonna say the things that I said and we said to each other. I will keep that locked in, but this is not over. Diddy's team will not give up, and they will continue fighting, and there's a lot of things that happened today that I feel like they can exploit to get Diddy out. I feel like this is a grave injustice, and Gina's letter alone, if you ask me, should launch an investigation into Maureen Comey and the other investigators if one of their witnesses is saying that. And if you guys say that you should believe Cassie, which I'm not disagreeing, if you guys say you should believe Jane, which I'm not disagreeing, then you should believe Gina's letter because this is her testimony. And I asked her today, did you write that letter? Is this fact? And she said yes. So how come her words are not true? Because people online are like, oh, she's a victim. Oh, she got a bag. Well, if she got a bag, then maybe somebody paid, maybe Jane and Cassie got a bag for saying what they said. You see, you can't have it both ways. So Jane and Cassie, the judge is like, I'm going to believe them. There's nothing that happened to them. Maybe there's speculation out there that because Diddy wanted to sue Diageo, that Diageo was the one who's like, yo, let's quiet Diddy, and gave Cassie and Jane a bag to say what they wanted in their testimony. So if you guys believe that Diddy paid Gina to write this letter, how come somebody at Diageo, how is it not, how can it not be possible that somebody at Diageo didn't pay Jane and Cassie to say their testimony? So why should we believe them? It cannot work both ways. Anyways, that's my 2 cents about Gina. Shout out to Gina. She was there all day. All right. The judge walks in and the judge says he appreciates all the letters. He's going to go over the material, the pre-sentencing report. And all of a sudden there was like a surprise letter from the MDC. The government steps up and says, we would just like to tell you, I thought this was brilliant. By the way, the prosecution was brilliant. Y'all know me, I'm fair, although I feel like they use a lot of trickery and a lot of loopholes. The government's tactics that they used in the beginning of the day were great. The government said Mia, which is Diddy's ex-assistant, will no longer be making a statement. She felt bullied by Mark Ignifilo's letter. If you guys remember, the government announced through like email that Mia would be testifying in the sentencing. A lot of people were not happy about that and didn't think it was fair for Mia to be testifying. She was not a victim. She was just there testifying. So Mark Ignifilo wrote back a letter. I don't have the details of the letter, but the tone was very like, how could you let Mia be testifying? She came under a pseudonym, which is not her real name, which is like Jane Doe. She came in there under a pseudonym, and he said she was even using a fake voice. So a fake name and also a fake voice, which, and listen, I think Mark's closed arguments was stellar. I think he did a great job. I think that was horrible for him to say that, whether if I disagree with him or not. I sat in front of his wife the whole time. She is also the lawyer for Luigi Mangione. Brilliant lawyers. That was not right what Mark said, for him to say that Mia, while she was testifying, was using a fake voice. And almost kind of like alluding to the fact that she's not allowed to use a pseudonym. Jane Doe used a pseudonym, and other people who testify can testify and not reveal their identity. I thought that was wrong of Mark to do. And the judge also said that he felt that the tone was horrible and wrong and should not happen again. The government said, and I thought that was smart and I thought it was effective, and he said, because of that letter, she's not testifying, which was brilliant because whatever she would have said, the fact that Mark messed up, and the government said, because of Mark's mess up, we would like for you to use that in sentencing today. Whether the judge did or not, it was smart of them to realize his mistake and use it against him and just say, you know what, Mia, don't even testify. His mistake is more powerful than whatever you could say. So smart move on the prosecution. Okay, so two more of his kids came up. The government, the defense said his kids are going to be at sentencing today. They're going to say a speech. Then we're also going to hear from Dr. Reverend Gary Johnson, and we're going to hear from somebody else. The government replies, will you have any people talking at sentencing? The government says no. So basically, in a nutshell, we start off the day knowing that we're not going to hear anything from the government except for their opening statement. And then for the rest of the day, we're going to hear from Team Diddy, the lawyers, and his children. All right, so we know what the day is going to be like. Because I really want to get to the chat, I'm just going to tell you the first thing that the judge went over was the pre-sentencing report. The pre-sentencing report is supposed to be, hold on, let me just wait for this ambulance to pass. The pre-sentencing report, okay, it's good. The pre-sentencing report is supposed to be an unbiased, branch of the government that just looks at everything that happened. They talk to Sean, they talk to, people around, and then they come back and they give the judge and they're like, hey, this is our pre-sentencing report. This is what we suggest that you should look at, and this is what we suggest that you should sentence Diddy to. Now, if you were on my live this morning, under the Constitution, the judge can take what the pre-sentencing report says, or he can give less, or he can give more. At the end of the day, it's up to the judge to do whatever he wants, okay? So, there was objections from each side. There were objections from each side under, that they had to do with the pre-sentencing report, okay? Yeah, well, I'm gonna be on here for like another hour and a half. You guys go and I'll meet you there, all right? But wait for me though, I'm coming. Like, don't leave wherever you're at. Okay, so they talked about adequate conduct, and he was saying, so adequate conduct is basically the things that I'm saying is wrong. So can the judge use evidence in the case? Hey, can we use adequate conduct? Can you guys hear me? Oh yeah, you can hear me. Okay. So the judge went on for like 15 or 20 minutes about adequate conduct. If there's limitations, if there's certain things, like for example, like can he use the fact that Kid Cudi said that he set his car on fire? Can we use what Mia said? Can we use what this person said? Make a long story short. The judge said, I could do whatever I want. There's certain laws and certain aggregated factors, but I could do whatever I want. So he told us from the beginning, I'm going to do whatever. I was like, yikes, that's not a good sign. Another objection was, please use SEX, force, fraud, coercion, and threats as adequate conduct. So this is the government saying, hey, we would like for you to use the elements and the evidence that we use against SEX trafficking under force, fraud, and coercion. The judge said, I object to that, okay? So basically, to just get through this quickly, the judge overruled every single objection. Diddy's team had objections, the government had objections, all of them were overruled. Diddy said, please don't look at Jane and Cassie as victims. Overruled. They are victims. The reason why they are victims is, well, I'm sure a lot of you feel like they're victims, so I don't have to explain that. So Diddy was like, yo, look at them as me, as somebody like me, because they were enjoying the SEX as well. They're not victims. But like I said from in the beginning, the judge says, no, they are victims because you tricked them, you forced them, you coerced them into doing these nights, which is so wrong, if you ask me. If you were there and listened to that testimony, I don't agree, and neither does the jury. Who cares what Trent Out Loud thinks? The jury didn't feel like there was force, fraud, and coercion. 12 people, but the judge thinks there was. But again, we already talked about that. So the defense team also asked, don't look at the escorts as victims. Overruled. They're like, no, we're looking at escorts. So basically, the judge literally started off the day by saying the escorts were victims, Jane and Cassie were victims, and the only person that was bad here was Diddy. Why? Wow. Will Wallace gave me a super chat. Let me read this out with this big of a super chat. Thank you very much. $50 on a super chat. Personally, I believe Diddy ruined lives and got away with disguising. However, looking through the lens of the legal system, seems like Diddy should have appeal action. Judge bias towards dude is off the charts. Good to see you live, Trent. Will Wallace, thank you. And that is 100% what I'm saying. Is Diddy wrong? Did he do horrible things? 100%. He should be charged for what he did to Cassie. They should go into the Constitution and take off the statute of limitation for DV. I grew up in a house with DV. I'm totally against DV. It's wrong. There should be no statute of limitation on it. Try him in state court and put him in jail for that. I will be outside that courtroom, and I'll be jumping up and down, be like, lock Diddy up for DV. He's not on trial for DV. He wasn't found guilty of DV. He was found guilty for paying an Uber for an escort to come from Jersey to Manhattan. That's the only reason why he's in jail. And nobody could tell me anything different because I sat in this courtroom every single day and I know what I'm talking about. It's transportation of escorts on a plane, an Uber, or a bicycle. And if Diddy paid them to get on an electric bicycle from Jersey and cross state lines and pay them to have sex, that's why he's in jail. If he would have taken a prostitute from New York City and paid them, it would be a misdemeanor and we wouldn't be here right now. So that's crazy work. And to look at those escorts as victims is crazy work. If you want to look at Jane and Cassie's victim, fine. But the escorts are victims because Diddy is this big kingpin that had all of this money, that organized all of these freak off and hotel nights only for him, and he was the only one that was benefiting from it. Yo, those escorts made mad money and they were super happy to be with Cassie. Are you joking? The escorts said that. You're gonna look at the escorts as victims? Crazy work, man, crazy work. Anyways, fraud and coercion. Please don't look at any of the evidence of fraud and coercion. Overruled. We're definitely gonna look at everything. Of course. And I feel so, I think why I feel so, I feel a little bit betrayed because I saw comments saying, yo, the judge has it out for this guy. Yo, the judge has it out. Yo, there's no way he's going to give him time served. The judge doesn't like Diddy. And, yo, I feel like he was a nice guy. I felt like he was fair. I felt like I disagreed with the bail, but then I also disagreed with some of the things that Diddy did, you know, in MDC, you know, calling people, calling Dawn, you know, like, the fact that when he was under investigation, you know, when he was arrested, he was having a freak off in the hotel room that night, knowing he was under investigation. After his house got raided, he still was doing a lot of stupid things. So although I didn't agree fully with not giving him bail, I was like, I kind of understand it because Diddy was stupid. The minute they raided his house, if that was me and that SWAT team raided, I think it was like in May, dude, I would not even have SCX with anybody. I would have literally been the most celibate guy in the world. I would never leave my house. I would sit down. No, what did Diddy do? He went to Jane. He went to Cassie. He was still on DRUGs. He was having lube. He was doing all of this stuff. So that is part of the reason why he didn't get bail. So I was trying to be fair to the judge. As you guys know, I always am. And I'm like, okay, I understand the bail thing. They tried. I'm like, there's been people that have unalived people and got bail, but I get it. Diddy was acting crazy knowing he was under investigation. Somebody just was texting me that saying Gina was in court. You must have been coming late on the live. I just talked about Gina for like 15 minutes. Gina was in court sitting right behind me, the person who's texting me, letting me know she was there. We just talked about that. Rewind the tape. I know Gina's there. I talked to her. I read Gina's letter and I told everybody on the live that Gina's letter should trigger an investigation into the federal government for them trying to make her testify as if she's a victim, and she admitted in a letter that she wasn't. So don't worry, I got you, okay? Anyway, so yeah, I was trying. I think that's why some of my emotions are coming out is because I trusted this judge. I was like, I disagree with bail, but I get it. You know, whenever Diddy's team asked for mistrial, I was like, I understand Diddy's team asking, but no, I feel like the judge is being fair. Even the motion 29, I was like, I don't agree with the Mann Act when it comes to an individual. I'm not going to read the Mann Act to you guys again because I've read it literally like 5 times. Google the Mann Act. It was from 1910. It's a racial law to stop black men from dating white women and taking them across state lines. So I don't agree with the Mann Act. Although it's been updated and amended, I still think it should be amended and put in. It cannot be used against an individual. Yes, protect women and younger people for people who are really like at massage parlors or that have like 10, 15 girls and are trafficking them. Yes, put them in jail. But the Mann Act should not be applied to one person that's hiring escorts for him and his girlfriends to have crazy nights on, or freak nights, or hotel nights, or king nights, or whatever. I don't think the Mann Act should be able to be used. So last Thursday, I thought that he should award Diddy a new trial or throw out the Mann Act because I disagree with the Mann Act. But even at that, I was like, yo, it's hard to throw out a whole trial like that, and it's hard to just throw out. I'm like, at sentencing, give him time served, and it will redeem everything. I literally thought the judge was going to be fair and take into consideration that Supreme Court justices, juries, and judges have said that the Mann Act is not properly written, it's too broad, and it needs to be amended. Even back 75 years ago, they said that it was a horrible law, and I thought the judge would take that into consideration and say, I never granted you bail. I didn't rule on motion 29, but I'm going to sentence you, but I'm going to give you time served. And I just think him not doing that, sorry, my little signs dropped. I think him not doing that today and then using all of the evidence in the testimony against him, I'm so disappointed in this judge, man. I liked this judge and I thought he was going to do the right thing. I thought he was going to be fair. And you guys know me, I'm a fair person. This judge was not fair today. Okay, let me continue. This is Diddy's defense team. He wasn't the leader of an organized crime unit. Cassie and Jane were participants of the crime, and so were the escorts. And also, he used his assistants to organize rooms. So this is the judge saying, listen, Diddy, because Diddy's defense team is like, don't look at it as this organized crime, because organized crime takes multiple people. The judge is like, I feel like there's multiple people because he used Jane and Cassie to call all these escorts, which is not fair, because Jane has even said that she really liked one of the escorts so much because he gave her an O that was so good, that was the biggest connection ever in her life. She called him on his own. So yes, Diddy may have used her sometimes to call, but she called on her own too, which is crazy to me. And then the judge also said he also used some of his assistants to set up the rooms and do stuff. So I will look at this like it was a criminal organization and he was the head and the lead. Again, the jury already said no. So why are you, judge, going against what the jury said? It's just crazy to me. All right. There was a fifth objection, overruled. He was not accepting responsibility, because in the pre-sentencing report it's saying he was not accepting responsibility. Am I still in the pre-sentencing report? I think so. He was not expressing responsibility for transportation and admitting to guilt or remorse. He says the escorts were just for time and not time served. Okay, by the way, sorry, it's very hard to take notes when a bunch of stuff is going on and I don't have time to go over them. The judge was basically saying that in the pre-sentencing report, he agrees with the fact that Diddy is not showing any remorse over the transportation. He wasn't showing any guilt. And the reason why he's saying that is because even till today, him and his lawyers are saying the escorts were not used for SCX. They were just used for their time, and it just happened to have SCX. And he feels that is a show of not having any remorse or even admitting to guilt, okay? Tenny Garagos highlights that the acquittal conduct should be made irrelevant. So this is one time when the judge was basically trying to just sum up saying, hey, you don't want me to look at all the evidence, and I know there's a bunch of rulings and a bunch of stuff, but at the end of the day, I just want to make it clear that I'm going to decide to do whatever I want. And Tenny got up and was like, just maybe your wording wasn't so good, Judge, but it just made it seem like whatever evidence that you decide, it's really, whatever you want to decide. He's like, okay, well, maybe I chose the wrong words, but I just wanted to kind of like blanketly say it. So Tenny checked the judge, and the judge was like, okay, I'm gonna still do whatever I want. But anyways, Alexander Shapiro highlighted something about acquitted conduct. Again, acquitted conduct is arson, force, fraud, and coercion. Any single conduct that was presented as evidence that he was acquitted for, they were asking him not to use, and the judge at the top of the day was like, I'ma use it. And I told you guys on my live that this morning, that's all this is gonna come down to. Will the judge use acquitted conduct? Any conduct that he was acquitted of, please don't use it, and he used all of it, okay? So he let us know from the beginning that the pre-sentencing report put the level of crime at 27, criminal history at 1, and they were suggesting 60 to 70 months. The government made their opening statements. They say today is about accountability. He did this for 15 years. He hurt a society. This is not all about freak-offs. It's about everything he did to the victims. Sean Diddy Combs is a horrible person. This is the government saying it. They have their first say. He should get 135 months based on his conduct and respect for the jury's verdict. The government does not want to negotiate. They wanted to make it clear that they were not asking for 135 months, hoping to get, when somebody goes into negotiation, if you want $1 million, they say ask for 2 and settle on 1. The government is like, we're asking for 35, not hoping to get 60 or 70 or meet us in the middle. We're asking for 135 because we want 135, which is 11 years. This isn't about transportation. This is not about transporting prostitutes across state lines. This is about violence. And this is when I should have known that it was all going to be downhill. The government was literally telling the judge, we showed you violence in this case. The jury did not believe us enough beyond a reasonable doubt to convict. But Your Honor, you have the right, which is true, you have the right to look at all of the violence that we said and we talked about, and he is a horrible person. Use all of the acquitted conduct, please. And with that, you should give him 11 years. Not just Cassie and Jane, but there were others. He did not care how other people felt. He had no respect for the law. He has booked, oh, this is something they go, he feels like he has no respect for the law. He already has booking engagements booked for next week in Miami. He has no respect for the law. He's rich. He's Diddy. He automatically assumes that he is going to get out. The minute they said that, the whole courtroom was like, he has booking engagements? Like, everybody was shocked. But stay tuned. I'm going to tell you what the lawyer said after, which should have been a slap in the face, but the judge didn't even look at it. So that was the first bombshell. The government went off and said, not only did he have one or two, but he had hundreds of freak-offs over weekends over the past 15 years. These were separate from the ones that we were convicted under the Mann Act. Sorry, this is not, so, okay, coming to the violence that Cassie had to go through. She's saying that there was a time where Cassie was forced to have SCX without using protection. There was times where Diddy put hands on her while an escort was waiting in the other room. There was times where an escort relieved himself in her mouth, not the white stuff, but the yellow stuff. Okay, I don't want to get flagged here on Instagram. And the government said he never disputed any of this. But he never disputed any of it because he didn't have to, because the government case that they put on was so, I don't want to say horrible, but was so ineffective to the jury that his lawyers knew that he didn't have to testify. So they were smart to know that they did not convince the jury beyond a reasonable doubt. That's the only reason why Diddy didn't testify, or why his lawyers didn't put anybody else on to testify. So to say that Cassie went through all of this and be like, yo, Diddy did not get on a stand and say that this wasn't true, so you should use this against them. Trickery and loopholes. I thought that was really, really bad. She said this went on for the past 15 years. The government presented evidence that supports this in case law, where people have been sentenced to more than 6 years, people who were violent. You should look at the CNN tape, which I think is wrong. The images. And these are things that happened. If you look at the CNN tape, that's what happened outside. Can you imagine what happened in closed doors? He put his hands on Jane just a year ago. He knew he was under investigation, and he never denied it, which I think was ridiculous of him. I don't know why he would do that. It was a trial strategy not to put hands on him. Okay, fine. Jane and Cassie, listen to what she said. She goes, Jane and Cassie never wanted to be with escorts. They wanted to be with Sean, and they only were with escorts to please Sean. What? What? Was the prosecution in the courtroom? Jane said verbatim that one of the escorts, I can't remember his name, gave her the best O ever in her life. I can't believe she even said that because, yo, that's Diddy's girl. And she said, yo, she called him like on her own, and there's been, yes? Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Yeah, so to say that now at sentencing without the ability to interrupt and to cross-examine her, that is crazy. To say that Cassie never wanted to do any freak-off and the only really wanted to be with Sean, and Sean just manipulated her, again, not only was that not what Cassie testified, but again, the jury did not find Sean Combs guilty of force, that would be forcing her to do something, fraud, using fraud or coercion. So what does that mean if the jury does not find you guilty of that? That means that the jury was like, nah, we believe Cassie wanted to do this. So how could the government be like, nah, she didn't want to? Doesn't that sound kind of like who? Gina? Because Gina told you, I showed them pictures, I showed them this, I showed them that, and they were trying to tell me I was a victim, and Gina was like, I ain't no victim. I'll let you think about that for a second. Diddy isn't accepting responsibility. Again, this is the government telling the judge. The defense will have a turn soon. This is the government saying Diddy is not accepting responsibility. Cassie testified that this happened to her over a dozen times. Diddy says that the violence was rare because he does admit to putting hands on her, but rare is not over a dozen times. Diddy did admit to having a mutual toxic relationship. He shows no remorse. He continues to say he paid escorts for their time, which is ridiculous, which I kind of agree with them saying like, yo, I really wasn't paying them for SEX. I was paying for them to hang out. And after hanging out, that's how we ended up having SEX. Like, I kind of agree with the prosecution where that's a stretch, bro. Like, I would just be like, yo, like, obviously that's what they were here to do. And it shows like, yo, I know what I was doing, but I think it's stupid that you want to try to keep me in jail because I paid for them to come in an Uber from Jersey. That's how I would have handled it. Okay. This court cannot be fooled, Your Honor. He put hands on Jane as a 54-year-old man. He has told you, and he's going to tell you, that he has changed. He has not changed. He just did this a year ago. When sentencing somebody, especially somebody who is wealthy and powerful, you must set an example so the society can see that powerful, wealthy people cannot get away with this, and we must set a precedent for victims to be able to come forward. You let me know. Is there another super chat, or did I already read this super chat? Let me just see the. Personally, okay, I already read this. Sorry, let me heart it. Thanks, Will Wallace, for the super chat. Okay, okay, put this back now. Okay, now that was all the government. Okay, now let me take you through Diddy's defense team. Okay, I know there's a lot. You always want me to get to the chat. All right, I'm gonna try to get through it quickly. Drixel, this guy is the superhero of all superheroes. Okay, he is the youngest member on the team. He's my favorite. I think Mark Agnifalo's closing arguments were amazing, but Driscoll was amazing. So Driscoll got up and said, I'm going to talk to you about the guidelines and the rules. We don't need to always follow the guidelines and the rules. The guidelines and the rules are what I told you about. What's his criminal past? And depending on the crime, it could be 1 to 45. And the math will tell you that you should give him 50 months or 60 months in the pre-sentencing report, but you do not have to listen to that. He said, in this case, there are reasons under the Mann Act why you shouldn't listen to that pre-sentencing report, and let me show you why. He started off by comparing one of them to a case of somebody named Jordan. I forgot their first name. And this guy who was a PIMP, he made $1.4 million. He said, do you have any idea how much SEX trafficking you have to do to make $1.4 million? Sean Diddy Combs made zero money off of his trafficking. And again, for those of you who don't know case law, you show case law to show what other judges did in similar cases. And the prosecution used this case with this guy named Jordan, and Drexel is like, are you kidding me? This guy had multiple girls and he literally made $1.4 million. Diddy is the one paying money. How is this equal? He said Jordan got 5 years. How can you give Diddy 11 years, all right? And in Jordan's case, he had been to jail in Cuba for 8 years prior to that. This was his second or third time. Diddy has not ever been committed of this crime. He pointed to cases where people got 24 months. He said that there was a man that put hands on girls and that had multiple girls, and they got 27 months. He said that he read all 900 Mann Acts. He said he read every single one of them, and most of them were against brothels, commercial acts like rub and tugs, and a lot of them used immigrants from other parts of the country. A lot of them were DRUG addicts. A lot of them were homeless people. A lot of them were people that had mental illness, and a lot of them were women from prison. Just let me take a time out to give you guys a picture here. This is the amendment of the Mann Act, and he is trying to say that he read, imagine reading 900 cases of people that have been convicted under the Mann Act in the United States of America, and he's saying 99% of them, of these cases, or maybe not 99%, but most of these cases, they are with a person, a man or a woman, that has 20, 30, 40 women, and they're trafficking them out of brothels. They don't want to be there. There are people that have mental health challenges. There are people that they're finding them off the street. They're pumping them with DRUGs. They don't even know what they're doing, and then they're pushing them out. And sometimes they don't even realize what they're doing. He said there was one case, it's probably a little bit further down. He's like, there was one guy that they found that he was selling this person for like $30 for like 5 minutes. He's saying that is what the Mann Act is for. Not a man that is literally hiring somebody from Jersey to come over to New York, all right? So he's saying that at no time did Diddy make any money. He was not a PIMP. Now, the judge interrupts and says, sorry, Drexel, I just want to know, the government is comparing him to being a PIMP, and can you tell me why you do not agree with the fact of them calling him a PIMP? And normally, you would, like, he's trying to stump him, right? Drexel was like, excuse me, Your Honor? The fundamental purpose of a PIMP is to have girls to make money off of. How can you categorize Diddy as a PIMP when he has his girlfriends having SCX with escorts? That is the furthest thing from a PIMP. A PIMP is there to try to make profit, is a business for him. He's using these women to make a business off of. How could the government or how could the judge even allude to the fact that Diddy's a PIMP? He thought that was ridiculous. And that was the first time I ever saw the judge not even say a word. The judge didn't even answer him. I thought it was great. The judge had nothing to say. Most cases, I already told you that. So he said out of the 900 cases, he gave the average sentence was 14 months. He said in cases where there was men that put hands on some of the women, the average was 24 months. And he says grouping enhancements, which is in most cases where they're grouping victims together. So example, let's say there's like 7 girls that they trafficked and they grouped them all together. There was one case that they had grouping enhancements, meaning multiple victims. This guy made $1.8 million. Guess how many months that this person got? He had multiple victims. He made $1.8 million in cash. PIMPing these girls out, he got 15 months. Why are we asking for Diddy to have 11 years?
You need 20 fucking years.
This is crazy, yo. There was case study that proves there was one guy that had 100 prostitutes. He flew them in from different countries for over 10 years. Oh, here, this was the example. One of them, he would charge $30 for 15 minutes. Guess how much time this guy got? He was charged on the Mann Act. Just let me read it to you again. This guy had over 100 women. He flew them in from other parts of the country. He would charge 30 bucks. 30 bucks for 15 minutes. This guy got 15 months. Diddy just got 50 months. I understand you hate Diddy, but how is that mathing? Makes no sense. Okay, he gave you another case where somebody got 6 months. He gave an example of somebody that sent a text message to one of the girls that were so horrible, saying that you're not human, you're worthless, blah, 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 because the government was saying how bad Diddy used to talk to Cassie when he was on DRUGs or if he was drunk or whatever. And Drexel gave her an example of this PIMP, how he used to talk to these girls. And he said, I challenge the government, and I can't even tell you what the text message said. He goes, I challenge the government to show me any time where Sean Diddy Combs talked to Cassie like this, and the government till now hasn't said anything. Again, this is case study where you're trying to show other people who have been sent to jail under the same conditions, have done the same crimes. You're trying to say, hey, this guy did this, this, and this, and this. Okay, cool. Diddy said all of these bad things to Cassie in text messages. Okay, Drexel went and found a text message that was so bad, that was so derogatory, he challenged the government to get him a text message, and they took the whole day. They didn't find anything. Just horrible. And that guy that sent that text message that had multiple girls, he got 24 months. Sentencing disparities. He said, Judge, if you look at sentencing disparities, I read all 900 cases, and sentencing disparities is all judges together in the United States, especially in this district, you shouldn't have sentencing disparities. So if somebody has similar crimes, the sentencing should be the same so that you don't have prejudice. And I think that's how they might probably win on appeal, because how could Drexler have all of these case studies with people that have done far worse crimes, and they're getting 24 months, 15 months, and Diddy gets 50 years? The discrepancy is so vast, it's crazy. It's literally like the Grand Canyon wide, if you ask me. Okay, Nicole Westmoreland, I'm gonna try to get through this quickly. Nicole Westmoreland, the black attorney on Diddy's side, love her. She now talks about Diddy. And again, just to remind you guys where we're at in the story, the judge went through his objections. The government gets to say kind of like their opening statements. And for the rest of the day, it's literally character testimony, case law, and then now it's going to be who is Diddy? And the lawyers, his kids are going to talk, and then Diddy talks. I'm going to tell you everything about how the Diddy's defense team was trying to make Diddy look. This is the point where we're at. So Nicole Westmoreland says, what he's done at the MDC is inspiring. What he's done at Bad Boy Records is inspiring. I think I have to take off these glasses. It's hard for me to see when it's dark, but whatever. What he did with Bad Boy Records is inspiring. He inspired other people to not just be rappers, to be owners. He changed an industry. He changed lives. He got into the fashion industry. He was a menswear. He was menswear designer of the year. He was the first black male to receive this award in its 23-year history. He showed that it was not just hood clothes, that it was upscale clothes. He changed the meaning for the black community. He changed it for other designers that were coming up. What he did with Ciroc, he showed other black entrepreneurs that it's just not about ads, that it's about ownership. Because if you guys don't know, he got 50% ownership in Ciroc. And listen to this. This was a huge moment. Some people didn't like it, but for me, I love this moment. She said, he has done a lot for our community, finally showing us that we deserve a seat at the table. So when she said our, I literally have an asterisk beside it. She said our community. I was like, whoa, she is identifying herself and what Diddy has done for her, independently of her being his lawyer. So I just checked that in my head. I was like, she has been inspired by Diddy before being his lawyer. She said what he's done for our community. And then she said, let me talk about revolt. And then her voice cracked. She goes, let me talk about revolt. What he's done for black journalists. And I was like, is she crying? The entire courtroom was like, because don't forget, she's looking at the judge and we're all sitting behind her. People in the overflow room, they have a camera so they can see. But even at that, you're like, is she crying? What he's done for the community, what he's done to empower. And let me tell you something, people in the overflow room at lunch told me that they felt like it was forced. Let me tell you guys something, and if you believe one thing here today, believe this. When Nicole broke down, and I'll read to you the rest that she wrote, but the rest of her presentation was through tears. I know when somebody is fake crying, and you will know when somebody's fake crying. You could tell when somebody is forcing their cry, and you could tell when somebody is holding back their cry. It might be hard to feel that through a surveillance camera. Every single person in the courtroom felt her tears and felt the impact that Diddy made on her. Whether you liked it or not, or whether you thought that it was the right time or not, you could tell that Diddy had an impact on her, and she was trying to express to the judge on how beneficial he is to the community and why he doesn't need to be sentenced to 50 months and how he should be let out now because of the impact. Has he done a bunch of bad things to Cassie and Jane? Yes, but she is trying to allude to the fact that what he has done throughout his whole career and the impact that he has done to elevate the hip-hop community, the hip-hop culture, the black culture, brown culture, immigrant culture, you know, single mom culture, Harlem, New York, that touched her. And I thought that was powerful because you're gonna hear later from him and his kids, and of course his kids are gonna cry. But I have been through a lot of trials and a lot of court cases. I have never seen a lawyer give a character statement for their client like Nicole did, and I thought it was beautiful and it was touching. Men were crying in that courtroom, let me tell you. She said, the Black Revolt Network, what he did for black journalism, the black community, he could have just enjoyed his success. I've been around many successful people, and a lot of them just enjoy their own wealth. He spent a lot of his time helping others and opening up positions for people and minorities that would not normally get positions open. She also said that he opened 3 charter schools, and he opened every single one of those schools in poverty-stricken neighborhoods. These charter schools were high-quality schools. They were promoting black excellence, and they were shaping and promoting the future leaders of this country. She said, don't let anybody tell you different. He employed, thousands of people of all nationalities, of all genders. He even did the Vote or Die campaign directed at the youth. And he changed the way that young people think about voting with his Vote or Die campaign. He personally inspired me. So I felt that through her words, and then she got to it. She said, he personally inspired me 8 years ago. She said he had no idea the influence that he had. She said that she wanted to start a program to help black mass incarceration. And she said that she met Diddy at an event, and he told her, he said, don't be afraid to dream. If you want to help black mass incarceration and you think that it could be too much of a big task, don't let that dream hold you back. Don't let it be afraid. Make sure you just wake up every day and try. He said, whatever you do, put actions behind your dreams. And when you're doing that, don't forget to help others. Diddy said that to her 8 years ago. He said that she said Diddy is not larger than life. He is just a human being. He is just a man, and he has made mistakes. He has made many mistakes, like we have all had. But how many of us can say that while we made some mistakes, we have also helped thousands of people? I thought that was very, very powerful. It's not right to discredit the help of the thousands of people and the communities that he's uplifted. He will admit that he lost his way, but at least I can confirm to the court that he gets it. I speak to Diddy every single day. He gets it. He understands his mistakes. He is free of DRUGs. He is sober. He is a changed man. He has helped people at the MDC. He noticed the lack of education at the MDC, and that is the result of why he started Free Game with Diddy. She said, the groups were initially divided because they were all in GANGs. This is the group that he spends his time with. Remember he told you he's in a room with 25 other guys? He said, I know that you guys want help from me and you want this knowledge that I have. I will help you, but you have to get along. I'm not going to teach you guys individually. I want you guys to work together. So Nicole is trying to show the judge that he's at MDC, not thinking about himself. He's trying to help others. She said the group was divided, but he said, as long as you guys get together and stop your rivalry, I will work with you guys. The staff at the MDC sent a letter into the lawyer to tell them how amazing it was. And they also said that in the history of the MDC, a course like this has never been done. A lot of people are like, oh, he's just doing this so he can get out. Who's that back there? A lot of people are saying, oh, he's just doing this to get out. You'll hear later on from somebody that says, there's been a lot of powerful people at MDC. There's been politicians, there have been doctors, there have been lawyers, there have been judges. And this is the first time everybody took it on their own time to give lessons to people that are in MDC to help others, okay? So he said, Mr. Combs can reach so many more people from the outside. Do not warehouse him. What he is doing, helping these 25 inmates at MDC, imagine what he could do for people on the outside. That was Nicole Westmoreland. Powerful. Everybody in there was crying. Everybody. There was not a dry eye in the house, and everything that she said was holding back tears, okay? Then his kids came up. Let me tell you verbatim what the kids said. And let me tell you something. If you weren't moved by Nicole, you were moved by the kids. Quincy, who was Albie Shure's son, said, no matter what anybody says, he is my father. I can attest that he's a changed man. He was involved in something. He was involved in something that he should have been for the past 15 years, but he's a changed man, and I can see the difference in him. So admitting he wasn't amazing, but he's a changed man. Then Justin comes up and says, Thank you for hearing me, Your Honor. I am Diddy's firstborn, because Quincy is quote unquote adopted, although he's not legally adopted. He said, I'm Diddy's Sean Combs' firstborn. I'm the secondly, I like to say that I could say that he has changed. I could see it through the time that he has spent in MDC. He's no longer the person that he was. My father is like a superhero to me. And the time that he has spent at MDC, I think has actually saved his life. Again, I've told you guys on my live a bunch of times, the reason why you put somebody in jail is to rehabilitate them. You feel like they've done something wrong or they're convicted of something, you put them in jail to rehabilitate them. His son is saying, which is an asterisk because of course his son is going to say this, but he feels like this saves his life. He's off DRUGs and he could see the change in his father. Christian comes up, he says, I'm his third son. I'm the one that looks just like him. Everybody kind of chuckled and laughed a little. He said, I'm the one that moves like him, the mannerisms are like him, and they say I'm the young Diddy. He said, the reason why I'm like that is because I've been studying my father since I was a kid. He's everything to me, and I want to be just like him. This is the one thing I didn't think that it was great that he said. He said, he told me to respect women. How could your father tell you to respect women and then we see the CNN tape? I feel like he should have just omitted that part. I'm not saying it changed it or made his sentencing worse, but saying my father raised me to respect and treat women properly, and we see on the CNN tape, I think he should have left that part out, Christian. He went on to say he's a changed man, he's more patient, and I will know that he's a changed man because I'm his twin, and I know my father very well. Then Jessie came up, one of the twins. She says, I'm 18 years old. She starts bawling right away, like full on tears. She said, my dad is not perfect, but please, we need him. My mom passed away and we lost her, and he was there for us. He promised that he would be there for us all the time, and now he's not able to be there. We need him, through a bunch of tears. Then Chance came up and she said, hello, Your Honor, I'm the oldest daughter. Starts crying. We need our father back. He has changed. It's very hard to see him parent our little sister, Love, from a jail cell. And then everybody starts breaking down and crying. Then Delilah, who is the other twin, she says, we are scared. We need our father. We cannot watch him be a father to baby Love and grow up like a father and grow up without a father, like we had to grow up without our mother. People started bawling. We are tired. I thought this was really strong. She goes, we are tired of being strong. Because you know that every time she talks to probably an aunt or talks to Diddy, they say, be strong, be strong, be strong. She said, I'm tired of being strong. I just want my dad back. Like, I need a parent. That's hard to hear, man. She said, please give us a chance. We are real people and we need our dad back. The judge said, thank you so much for all those heartfelt words that you guys had to say. I know it must have been hard to say, but it's very important for me to hear. And then they played a video, and the video, you could watch the video on my Instagram, the Trent Out Loud Show. It's an 11-minute video of Diddy running a marathon and Diddy being with the people and being with his kids, okay? A lot of people started crying during the video. Christian, when they put Kim Porter on the screen, you know Christian always has his waves, and he was like, pushing down his waves. I was like, why is he like so jittery? And then I realized it's him looking at Kim, and he was holding back his tears, and his girl was beside him, and she dabbed his eyes, and then he started bawling and started crying. So, you know, I felt for them, and I can't lie. So Christian was filled with tears. His girlfriend wiped it away. Gina behind me, she was crying. Love's mom, I forgot her name. She was super nice. She goes, I really like your braids. She said she was crying too. Brian Steele, I'm going to go very quickly with Brian Steele. I feel he was effective, but we could have just done without Brian. And he's normally like one of my favorite lawyers. He said, how did we get here? How did we come to here? The jury has spoken. This is the hardest working man that I have ever seen. We got here from untreated trauma. We got here from DRUG addiction. Diddy lost his father at 3 years old. His uncle was unalived a couple of months after. Harlem was rough for him. His mother worked 3 jobs. She was a bus driver. She worked all that she could, and she moved them to Mount Vernon. And Mount Vernon is an upper class area where there was a lot of white people there. And that's where Diddy was encountered with a lot of racism, and then he went back to Harlem during the days. And that's when he turned to work just like his mom. He started interning at a record label. He rose very quickly as an A&R. He started Bad Boy Records. And this is interesting. He said at the beginning of his career, he didn't allow any DRUGs in the studio. He said there was nobody allowed to do that in the studio because he needed to be focused. He said then the first traumatic thing happened when B.I.G. was unalived during the whole Tupac thing. And he said a couple of months after, 2 of his college roommates were unalived, but that didn't stop him. He kept going. In 2000, he hurt his knee, and that's when he got prescribed painkillers. And he's saying it was that time that Diddy got addicted to painkillers, and that's when his DRUG habit started. And from that day that he got addicted to those DRUGs from his knee, he said he hasn't been sober a day since then. I thought that was pretty powerful. So now that I think about it, I take that back, Brian. You played your part. I listened to 2020, well, September 16th, 2024 for 24 years. He hasn't been sober. He said, yes, he had put hands on Cassie, but he's sorry for that. And I am with him every day. I'm with him more than I am with my own family. I talk to him every day. I can attest, Your Honor, he is a changed man. He wants to get out so he could see his family. He's been sober for 12 months and 17 days. There was a guard. I didn't know about this. He said the conditions that he's facing at MDC is very harsh. His life is, I don't know if I can say this on YouTube, but like there's people that want to unalive him. He's saying that there was a guard that stopped one of the inmates that had a KNIFE on them, and he was standing over him about to do something to Diddy, and the guard stopped him. He said he needs to be out of there as soon as you can. He said he eats out of a paper bag. There's no lights. There's no sunlight in the area that he's in. He doesn't have any clean water. He has to boil it. He's suffering. He cannot believe that he put himself in this type of situation. He lost all his businesses. His prestige is gone. He has, he feels like he's cursed his children with the name Combs because he's ruined his name so much. He said that he's also facing 100 civil lawsuits, that he doesn't care about any of that actually. He just wants to be with his family. He's saying that he doesn't care that he lost his business and lost all of these things. He just wants to be with his family, but we do know, of course, he does care about that. He says, and that's not, and he said, Your Honor, that is not how we treat people that have DRUG abuse. We do not keep them in places with bad cleaning water where somebody wants to unalive them, where, you know, they're in inhumane conditions, they're eating out of a paper bag. He said he was an addict, and that is not how we treat them. He needs to be put into facilities where that he could be, you know, rehabilitated, etc., etc. Okay. He went on to say something about October the 6th, the speaking engagement, which one of the other lawyers will get to soon. He said something about Jane and Cassie. Okay, it's getting dark out here, so I want to try to hurry up a little, or I might just go on where it's a little bit more light. Okay. If you release him, I can promise you he's going to do good. He wants to do more speaking engagements about DRUGs. He said he's going to change, etc., etc. He's a civil rights leader. He's going to do good in the community. And I suggest, I will break you, but I suggest the prosecution spend, he was saying that this is really important. Oh, that light is great. Can you keep it there for the next hour? That's perfect. Yeah, I can't even see my thing. He said this to the prosecution, which I thought was important. He goes, to the prosecution, because I actually said this on my live this morning. He said, to the prosecution that doesn't feel like Diddy has felt pain, that he doesn't feel that, if you don't feel like he has learned his lesson, then I challenge the prosecution to go to the MDC and spend 2 days at the MDC. Trust me, spending 2 days at the MDC will change you. And again, the whole reason to sentence somebody is to make sure they understand the severity of their crime and to use it as a deterrent. So that whole speech that Brian Steele, is this still Brian? Yeah, the whole speech that Brian Steele is trying to say is, It's already been a deterrent. He feels like he's messed up his name. He lost his businesses. He's lost all this. He's lost all his family. Oh, that light's perfect too. Everyone's lighting me up. So he's saying, prosecution, judge, even the judge, go spend 2 days there. Trust me, you'll be a changed man. I said that today. He said he could do more outside. He said, we will help him. He said, I'll be personally responsible for him. They bring in a community leader who was waiting outside. The community leader came in and said, give Diddy to me. I will make sure that he goes out into the community, talks. He wants to go back and live in Miami to be with his mom. We will make sure that he continues this free game with Diddy. We will help him, etc., etc. Okay? Look how he lived before and look how he's living now. He also touched on the fact that he's not a PIMP, which they already addressed that. This is something I thought was important. He said there are 2 Sean Combs. He said all of these letters that you're getting, you'll see some of your letters from the prosecution saying that he was this horrible person. And then you have letters from us saying, yo, he's such an amazing person. And he said, Your Honor, you have a hard time. You're the one that has to decide who's the real Sean Combs. And he goes, let me help you. I actually think they're all the real Sean Combs. But if you look at the underlying factor of the negative things that were in these letters, it was the DRUGs. And anybody who said the negative things also said good things. So Jane said great things about him and negative things. Cassie said the same things. His ex-assistant, even Mia, they were like, he was larger than life. He was this, he was amazing. But then at times, he was horrible and he was this. And Brian Steele is just trying to say, Donaldson is just trying to say, listen, he is both. But putting him in jail is not going to help him. Letting him out, and now the fact that he's already learned his lesson, and it's been 14 months, he has learned his lesson, and that's why you see him giving these courses like Free Game with Diddy. He is the person who we're giving to you in these letters, and he's not that old person. Now, that's up to you to believe it or not, but that's what he is saying, okay? He's saying when Prince passed away, when Whitney Houston passed away, when Michael Jackson passed away, that was all from DRUG. I thought that was very powerful because I feel like Diddy has been kind of stripped away of his like stardom. But if you really think about it, Diddy is still a mega star. Is he Michael Jackson? Maybe not, but he is in the lineage of the Prince, Whitney, and Michael. And we forget that we lost them to DRUG. So he's trying to show you that, yes, maybe Whitney, Prince, and Michael didn't have violence and have freak-offs, but he's just trying to show the effects of DRUG, and that's not the person he was, okay? There has been a bunch of other famous people over the past 30 years that have went to the MDC, and I already told this already, there's a bunch of people who went to the MDC. None of them have put together an organization like Free Diddy. He's done this on his own. People are saying it's just lip service. He's just doing this because they know they're watching him. That's not true. There's been people more famous than Diddy that has been sent to jail and has sent to the MDC, and these people haven't done anything for the inmates. This is the real Diddy. This is what we're trying to tell you. That's the video. When we don't get the real Diddy, it's only when he's on DRUGs, and we can attest that he's been sober for the past 14 months, and if you let him out, he's going to stay that way. They're trying to convince the judge, okay? And he said, I just want to address the prosecution, what they said about October the 6th. This speaking engagement in Miami, it's not a speaking engagement, it's a teaching engagement. And I was like, yo, that's a bar. That is a bar. It's not a speaking engagement, it's a teaching engagement. And he said, we assumed that the court was going to ask us, what is your plans to do? What are you going to do with Diddy if I let him out today? And Donaldson was saying, yo, I was on the phone talking to people in Miami because us as his lawyers, we want to keep him on this good path. We want to keep him teaching Free Game. We want to keep him off of DRUGs. And I was talking to people in Miami and I was saying, if he gets out, if we're blessed enough for him to get out, we want him to continue doing this because us as his lawyers and his family and his support system, we know this is the real him. This is the guy that created the campaign. This is the guy that created the charter schools. And when he is off DRUG, he's amplifying his community. And this October the 6th speaking engagement is not a speaking engagement, it's a teaching engagement. Woo! Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but it did sound very convincing, and to me it was a slap in the face from the prosecution, and the prosecution should not have said that because it left the door open and Donaldson slammed it in their face, okay? Okay, we want to keep him busy. Donald said, I grew up in Miami, and I know how effective Mr. Combs could be out there. Mr. Combs going back to jail and to speak to the community would be amazing. And there is a supervisor in jail that we have outside that's going to organize some things for him to do in Miami. His name is Giovanni. He was outside. He came back inside. Send $20 to Trent Out Loud gift membership. Thank you, Will Wallace, for the $20 on the... wow! What did you just do? Sent 20? Yo, you just gave out 20 memberships? Yo! Yo, Will Wallace! Yo, shout out Will Wallace. Will Wallace just gifted 20 memberships to people. Yo, Will, thank you. Yo, Will, that is crazy. Thank you so much. Wow. Yo, Will, thank you, man. Thank you. Yo, that is crazy. Yo, thank you, man. I'm touched by that. Yo, Out Louders, you got my back, man. Will Wallace just gave out 20 memberships for 20 lucky people. I don't even know how you did that, but thank you. With your membership, you get access to vlogs. I do independent stuff. You get access to early videos, early live streams. Y'all are gonna love it. Will Wallace, thank you so much for that sign off, okay? Really appreciate it. I'm gonna get right back to this, but don't think I don't appreciate it. Thank you. That is amazing. Please send me a DM. I wanna talk to you offline or whatever, right? So go on Instagram, just go to Trent Out Loud and send me a DM so I know who you are and I could shout you out and we could talk, all right? Appreciate you. Okay, so they brought in a community leader saying that, yo, he will take full responsibility. Give Diddy to me. They're all up there saying, yo, we showed you the videotape. We showed you how amazing Diddy is, and he is more beneficial to the community. Look what he could do with free game in the court. Give him to us. We're going to do amazing stuff with him, okay? Then Mark Agnifilo gets up and he goes, Judge, I know you're probably very impatient right now, and I know that we've taken up a lot of your time, but I just want to say a few things. And let me get to it because I really want to get to what Diddy said. I thought what Diddy said was impactful. It's the last thing, so hang in with me, and then I'll get to talking the chat, okay? Mark Agnifilo said, this is a mental health issue. This is an issue about somebody who lost their father. This is a DRUG case. This is a DV case. And he gave an example of a court experiment they did in the 90s where they didn't sentence people to time in jail. They used things like what they're trying to say, put them out in the community and not just send them to jail where they're sitting down. Use them to do things in your sentencing and your probation. Make them be outside talking to people and changing lives instead of just changing 25 people's lives. That's what he's trying to say. And he said, what is the deterrent for Diddy? What is the deterrent for him not to go back and do this? And Mark was like, are you joking? This man was just embarrassed on a national stage. Go outside. The entire world, the entire press, who's still here, by the way, CNN, ABC, Fox, and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Everybody is still here. They're like, this guy was just embarrassed. He just told you how embarrassed he is for his last name, that his kids have to walk around with Combs' last name. You don't think that is a deterrent? I totally agree with that. You might not agree with that. Some people think Diddy's going to get off and have a freak off the next day, where I do think it's crazy that he had the freak off when he's get arrested, but there's no way after this he's going to be having freak offs and hiring prostitutes. He would be completely crazy, okay? And he said, you should let him out and make sure that you give him a bunch of conditions. And his conditions should be off on time served. And let me know if you guys agree with this. Give him time served, but then give him mental health treatment. Give him DV treatment, give him a DRUG program, make sure that he's tested all the time, test him every day if you have to. Sorry, it's dark, it's hard for me to see. October is DV month, let's work together. I thought that was not smart because we all saw the Cassie tape, and to be like, hey, October is DV month and we're in October, so let's not highlight the DV, bro. We saw what he did to Cassie. I just didn't like that part personally. They said that he should be let out now, okay? Then it was the government's time to talk. I really don't want to take up too much time with the government. The government just talked about the Jordan case that Drexel was talking about. He said after the Cassie video, she said after the Cassie video came out, Diddy went out and said that he was a changed man. He went on Instagram. He told everybody he was sorry for doing what he did to Cassie. And literally a couple of months later, he went and put hands on Jane. For those who follow me daily, I told you that Diddy getting on Instagram was stupid. I told you guys what I would do. The minute the feds, and this is a lesson to anybody, the minute you know that you're under investigation, or the minute the police raid your house, stop doing everything. Turn off your phone, give it to your girl, give it to your partner, give it to your friend. Don't call anybody, don't text anybody, don't leave the house, don't do nothing, because everything after that will be used against you in the court of law. So him saying, Your Honor, that was, or not Your Honor, but hey, people, fans, that was 2016. I was broken. I was a changed man. I'm sorry to Cassie. How are we supposed to believe you now, sir, when you say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm a changed man? Now, the difference is he just spent 14 years in MDC, and I think that will change you. However, that video really hurt him. Roscoe's Chicken and Waffle, thank you so much for the super chat. So the government now, after you heard all of that from Diddy, Diddy's team, his kids, Nicole, Drexel, all of them, the government comes up and just says one powerful thing, is saying, was he changed after that Instagram video or not? Because he went and put hands on Jane, so he's not sorry. No accountability. Send him to jail. 11 years. Do not pass go. Okay, I got to the Diddy part, guys. Sandy, thank you very much for the super Trent. Trent, thanks again for doing amazing reporting. I appreciate you. Thank you. All right, let me get to Diddy, guys. I'm very excited. We're almost at the finish line because the Diddy talk, I think after Diddy, we're done. Yeah, Diddy and then sentencing, okay? Let me just see. Yeah, okay. Here we go. Diddy gets up and the judge says, Mr. Combs, you may speak, please take your time. And I'm like, why is he saying, Diddy, take your time? Now, again, I'm behind Diddy, right? There's Diddy, his family, and there's 3 rows, right, for content creator and public. So I'm like, Diddy, take your time. Why is Diddy taking his time? Why isn't he standing up? So I pull myself off my chair to like look up, and I see Diddy's head down. I'm like, Diddy's crying, y'all. And not a fake cry, a Nicole Westmoreland cry. Like, he's like, I have to speak to save myself here. Like, he's spoken in front of the biggest crowds in the world. He is getting ready to speak in front of somebody that's going to sentence him possibly up to 11 years or let him out today. So Diddy gets up, starts crying right away. He said, sir, it's been hard for me to be quiet and not be able to say that I'm sorry for what I did to Cassie. I'm sorry for what I did emotionally to her, and I'm sorry to what I did physically to her. I do not take it lightly. I also apologize to her family. I'm also sorry to Jane. I'm sorry, Jane, that I brought you into this. I'm sorry that I brought you into my mess. I'm sorry to everybody who has experienced DV. I know seeing that CNN video triggered people around the world, triggered everybody who has went through DV, and for that, I am sorry. I was sick. I was sick from the DRUGs. I was out of control. I needed help, but I didn't get it. I knew better. And I'm gonna give you his voice. He said, my mom taught me better. Like, he said it in like trying to hold back, and he turned around, he's like, she taught me better. I felt that. He said, I lost my way. I lost my journey. I lost myself as a human being. I got lost in my own ego. And it caused my demise. I lost my freedom. I lost my ability to be a parent. I've lost my businesses. I lost my self-respect. I have been humbled. I hate myself. I have been brought down to nothing. I'm sorry for it. And now, no matter what I say, I know I can't change things. I'm sorry to my children. I have failed you. I have failed you as a father. And then he names them. I failed you, Quincy. I failed you, Justin. I failed you, Christian. I failed you, Chance. I failed you, Jesse. And I failed you, Delilah. And he turns around and he looks at them as he said he failed them. He said, I failed as a son. I was taught better. And he put his hands on his head. He said, I taught better. I was taught better. What I was taught, it was expected more of me. To the people of color, you need me to be better. And it was my mission to be an example and to do better, but I got lost. And I'm sorry to my community. But Your Honor, people can change. Your Honor, events can change people. Sometimes some people have to go through things to change. And I cannot change my past, but I can change my future. I beg for your mercy. I beg for you to let me change and be a better son again, to be a better father again, to be a better parent again. I have nobody to blame but myself. I know I will not put my hands on anybody ever again. I will comply with the conditions that the court gives me. This is my chance to shape and use my story to help others. I want to thank the jury. I did not testify, but I thank them for their not guilty verdict. I understand the Mann Act. I understand the convictions that I face, and I accept them. The prosecutors want you to make an example of me, but use me as an example for good. I can help others. My deterrent, which the prosecution thinks will be me spending 11 years in jail, is not a deterrent. The fact that I haven't been able to be with my kids for the past 14 months has been deterrent enough. Thank you, Your Honor. I said, go Diddy. I'm not even looking at the chat. I know there might be some of you that don't believe that. And maybe there were some things that were put in there based off of what he said on Instagram to Cassie a year or so ago, and then he allegedly put hands on Jane after. But let me tell you something. Again, like with Nicole, you can see and feel when somebody has gone through something. And even if you feel it's lip service and you feel like everything is not genuine, I challenge you to close your eyes and think about a billionaire that has mega mansions in LA and Miami and huge condos and apartments in New York City, that has his own plane, his own plane that has cars, that has butlers and housekeepers and chefs, and has had this for longer than he hasn't had it. He has been richer for longer than he has been poorer. Think about that. You strip that away from that person for 14 months, and you put them in a room with 25 other inmates, and you make them go to the bathroom in the same room with those inmates and without a closed door. You make them prepare their meals in that room. You have no sunlight in that room. You have no natural air in that room. You are eating out of a paper bag in that room. You are showering in that room. You are living in that room. There's people that want to unalive you in that room. You must be affected by that. Any human being on the planet that goes from that level of what Diddy had to where he is right now and where he is sleeping a couple of miles that way at MDC, that has to have an effect on you. I don't have to have heard Diddy's speech to tell you that that had an effect on him. And that has to be a deterrent. The judge feels like he needs 50 more months of that to be a deterrent. Some of you think that he needs more than that, but you cannot sit down here and tell me that the past 14 months from somebody that has been convicted for 2 counts under the Mann Act, which is bringing somebody across state lines, and that is your charge, and that has been what you had to go through for 14 months, you are not going to get out of those kind of conditions and get back to Miami and sit down in your mega mansion and do anything remotely close. That got you there. I'm sorry. That's not gonna happen. I don't care what anybody tells me. That's crazy work. That's my 2 cents on Diddy's speech. The judge said a couple of things, and then we can be done and I'll go to the chat because the judge gets to talk. It's just 4 pages. I'll go very quickly. The judge says, you are being sentenced for the Mann Act. I just want to let you know that all the other counts, you will not be charged for them. But I'm going to use the evidence in all the other charges, but that's not what you're being convicted of. That's crazy. He said, the system requires me to look at the person's background and the character of the person. And what you have done in the community has been iconic. What you have done for schools has been amazing. Your free Diddy game and MDC has been amazing. The fact that your family counts on you has been amazing. Sorry, 1 second. Could you actually just point that light to me, seeing that it's on? Appreciate you. Thank you. Hey, what's up, y'all? Sorry, where was I? So he said, I have to consider all of these things. He said, you're a family man, your kids, and it's all amazing. And he said, and we understand all of that. And we also understand that this sentencing is going to affect your kids. He said, that doesn't fall light on me. I know that me sentencing you will affect your children, and it's hard for me to do. And I am taking that into consideration. And like I said, I will give him credit for one thing. The pre-sentencing report was 60 months, and he gave Diddy 50 months. And maybe it was the impact of the kid's testimony that helped take the 10 months off. And that doesn't fall short on me. And I want to give him credit because he could have gave him 60 months and he gave him 50 months. Although I still think all the other stuff was BS, at least he gave him that. He says, I understand that you were under DRUGs. Then now when it goes downhill, he goes, but the freak-offs, sir, were very bad. You put hands on women. You have affected their lives. He says, we reject the defense argument that this was just a party lifestyle of rock and roll. This was not just a rock and roll lifestyle. This was you putting hands on your girlfriends, particularly Jane and Cassie. Thank you, Watch Say with K. Thank you for the super chat. He said, this is not just a partying lifestyle. He's like, I know the celebrities that party, but what you did putting hands on Jane and Cassie was wrong. And he said this, and again, this is testimony, which I don't agree with. He said, Jane and Cassie both said that they wanted to do things to themselves that were not, I don't want to say to get flagged, but you know what it is, right? Causing harm to oneself because of the things that Diddy had put them through, okay? He said the fact that they have felt like that over the time, that's trauma that you caused these women. He says, why did it happen so long? He goes, why did it happen so long? Why did it go on for 15 years? And he said, because you had the money and the power to make sure that it continued. I thought that was a little unfair. Oh, why don't I do it like this? He said, you were worse than a John. And a John is somebody who just like, hey, I'm just going to call them up one time because you were worse than a John. You said that you were sorry to Cassie on a CNN, after the CNN videotape, but then you still went ahead and put hands on Jane. He's listening to what the prosecution is saying. He said, that was a huge issue for me. And again, it's what I been saying to Diddy this whole time. Don't get on Instagram. Don't say anything. You know you're under investigation. That apology video really hurt Diddy. He says, because that shows me that you need a bigger deterrent. That shows me that you feel like you're above the law, that you could put hands on Cassie, it could be out there on CNN, the whole world could say it, you could go and apologize and then go back and do it to Jane a couple of months down the line. You need a deterrent, sir. He said, a big sentence is needed to set an example to help more women come forward. I thought that was very big of him. He said, I need to help protect the society. He says the government needs to suggest, he said the government suggestion of 11 years is not fair. He said it is not reasonable. He said, although that you need to have a deterrent, case studies will show that 11 years for a case like this is not fair. The government is not considering your criminal past. They are not considering the fact that you have mental health issues, and they're not considering that you are on DRUGs. Again, I thought that was fair. The judge is considering what Diddy's defense team is saying. So I thought that was very fair of him. And that's another reason why he's taking it down from 11 years to 50 months. Then he says, even though the government's 11 years is not reasonable, the defense's request for time served, just 14 months, that's not fair either, because they're missing some items. Trina, thank you very much for the super chat. He said the defense is unrealistic as well. Both of you are so far off. The defense is missing aggregating factors. The defense, they're using cases that are unique, and those cases are getting 10 months less. Sorry. He's saying this case is very unique. Sorry. He's saying you cannot just look at case studies. He's saying you cannot just look at case studies because Diddy's case is very unique. So that goes to Drexler when he's using all these case studies, even the government saying, look at this case study, look at Jordan, look at this guy, look at that guy making 1.8 million. The judge is saying Diddy's case is very, very specific. And he said, with that being said, I am deciding that Diddy should face 50 months in jail. And after that, he should have supervised release and he should pay a $500,000 fine. He said, that is my sentence. And listen to what he said to this. He goes, to Jane and to Cassie, I want to say, you are strong women. He says that during this case, Diddy's defense team said that Diddy and Cassie's relationship was a new age love story. This was not a new age love story. This was a man putting hands on his girl. He said, you guys are both strong women. He said, your family should be proud of you. You spoke up for all the women around the world. You spoke up for the violence that happens behind closed doors. And violence like this should not stay behind closed doors. And the sentence is reflecting that. Again, I do agree with that. I do agree that whether you believe or not, that's what we're here to say, they came forward and they spoke, and that inspires other women to come up and speak. And you have to take that into consideration because you have to set a precedent. You have to set an example. I understand that, being raised in a home that had DV and experiencing that. And, you know, Diddy was right. Seeing that CNN video is triggering to me as well, too. I do like the judge, the fact that he shouted out women that have to go through this, or just anybody that has to go through this, because a lot of people don't realize is that there's some women who put hands on men too, but we all know that most of the time it's men putting hands on women. So he said he wanted to make sure to highlight their strength and to encourage other women to come forward and do not be afraid. The court will hear you, and the court is not afraid to send men to jail and teach them a lesson. And that is one of the reasons why he is giving this sentence today. He said, you guys were strong. And he said, Dr. Martin Luther King said, out of a stone will come courage. And you guys were courageous. And he said, Diddy, I know that you're in a dark place right now, but you will get through this. He said, I'm happy to hear the things that you were doing in MDC with Free Diddy. I hope you continue this. He said, you will get through this. He said, you need to be an example for your kids. Then he started listing off one thing that every kid said in one of their letters, which I didn't even bother writing out. He said, Quincy said this, keep giving that to Quincy. Justin said this, make sure you keep doing that. Do what you said you were going to do to me. When during your speech, judge, let me out so I can do this. The judge is challenging Diddy to continue to do this. And I agree with him. Diddy, although you're not out, you did say in your speech that you are changed, that you do not want to go back on DRUGs, that you want to keep helping people, you want to help the community, you want to go to Miami and help thousands of people, and you'll be more beneficial to thousands of people. And I agree with that. However, as I am a person too that has authored books, I'm a mental health advocate. I talk about mental health. I'll be with Charlemagne the God and Dr. Alfie next week in Jersey for the third time and the 5th annual mental health conference. When you're helping and giving back, it doesn't matter if you're helping 5,000 people or you're helping one person. So I hope that I continue to hear, regardless of whatever Diddy and his team feel of this verdict, I hope to hear that the free game continues. Because if it does not continue, or you start hearing that Diddy is behaving bad or that he's not continuing everything that he said he wants to do, then it's a slap in the face to the people who are trying to have his back, his team, and everybody who just gave those statements. Nicole, Brian Steele, Mark, all the children, everybody. They're saying that he's a changed man. Just because you didn't get out today, you should still remain a changed man and do not go back to that person. When you are truly changed and when you are truly healed, you need to continue on that healing path. And it's not beyond me to understand the conditions that you're in, and they are hard. I understand. I have been there, not at the MDC, but I have been there, and I know what it's like. I know it's hard. But you were there for 14 months, and they try to break you in there, and you have been able to stay strong. So, again, I'm not, not on Diddy's side or anybody's side here. I'm just saying, if Diddy, this is a great test for him. It's a great test for the people who have his back. That's saying that they are going to make sure when he gets out that he will continue on this path. Make sure that he continues on this path in the MDC. The judge said on his final thing, he said, a reminder to him that his words are strong and to keep being strong behind your words, Mr. Sean Diddy Combs. He got up. He said, thank you very much. Thank you, bro. Yeah, I got you. Don't worry. I'm about to go to the chat anyways. We're good. He said, thank you so much. and he walked out. Diddy got up, he turned to his family, he gave his heart, like put his hand on his heart. He walked out with the US Marshals, and that was it. There wasn't huge outbursts. There wasn't like crying. We do know from the pre-sentence report that they had suggested 60 months. So I feel like his team and his family probably assumed or was ready for Diddy to get maybe 60 months or less. So I think they were prepared. I have 10 minutes left. I'm going to go to the chat and talk to you guys about something that I alluded to the fact. And I'm going to give the last 10 minutes to you guys. And I know some of you guys don't like hearing this, but Diddy's team is not done. I can guarantee you that. They're going to seek out appeals. They're going to seek out mistrials. They're going to seek out pardons. I can guarantee you right now that Diddy's team is on the phone with somebody in the Trump organization. This is not the last time that I am going to be outside of this courtroom. I can guarantee you that. I hope that Diddy continues on his path and he continues healing and he continues all that for his family. But putting all that aside, I could promise you that Diddy's team is not going to take this sitting down. They knew that the pre-sentencing report was 60 months. They might be happy with the 50 months, and they are going to work on getting appeals, mistrials, and a pardon from Donald Trump. I told you guys, and I'll end off with this before I go to the chat. I told you guys that allegedly, I heard that Mr. Donald Trump was hoping that he would get a sentence so that he could be the one that frees Diddy. Now that's alleged. I won't tell you who told me. It's a very reliable source. But for example, like TikTok, Donald Trump was like, I want to be the one to save it. You remember he even tricked us where it was like, oh, it's offline for a weekend and everyone's freaking out and was like, hey, Donald Trump was the one who gave us back TikTok. And we came to find out that it wasn't true. He actually told them to take it offline. I have sources that have told me that Trump wants to be the savior in all of this. It could be alleged, we don't know, but one thing we know for a fact is that Nicole Westmoreland has said, for those of you who don't believe that Trump will be involved, Nicole Westmoreland has said that they have actively been in talks with with Trump for a pardon. And I know some of you might say, yeah, well, Trump said that Diddy said not so nice things about him, so I don't know if I should give him a pardon. I remind you that JD Vance, his vice president, has said 10 times far worse things than Diddy has ever said about Trump. Google, I can't even say it on YouTube because I'll get flagged. Google what JD Vance said about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a transactional person. If Diddy will give him something, Donald Trump will pardon him if Diddy can give him something. That's how Donald Trump works. He wrote the art of the deal. He doesn't care about feelings. He doesn't care if you like him, if you hate him. You saw him at Jimmy Carter's service. He was there keying with Obama. You can say whatever you want about Donald Trump. If you can offer him something that can help him, he will help you. And I'll close off with this, and I'll go to the chat. Donald Trump has made it a point to go against the U.S. court system because he feels that the U.S. court system has done him wrong. He feels like Biden used the court system to go against him and convict him wrongly and weaponize the U.S. court system. And I started off this live by telling you the trickery and loopholes that the U.S. court system has used to convict Diddy. It's not a hard sell to go to Donald Trump and say, he was convicted of the Mann Act, and the Mann Act is a old law that a lot of Supreme Court justices, the DOJ, it's been set up for commercial use. It's been set up for people that have multiple people. This was just him and his girlfriend. And they didn't use any of the evidence for the Mann Act. They used all the evidence in the RICO, and they used all the evidence in the forced fraud and coercion. And that's what they used to give him 50 months. What do you think about that? I feel like that's weaponizing. Give me a pardon. And then, oh, Diddy, you need to campaign for me. You need to, you need to go out on midterms. You need to wear a MAGA hat. You need to do whatever. Now, I'm just joking with the MAGA hat. I don't know. But if Diddy can offer Trump something, trust me, there will be a pardon somewhere. It's already in the works. I can tell you that's from a source, but okay. I am done. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! I went on for, close to 2 hours on my own, just talking. Woo! My voice is a little hoarse. Was that good, guys? Wow. Yo, thank you very much. Thank you. That's from like a real reporter over here, all right? Yo, thank you guys very, very much. That was all the notes. Sorry if I was like stammering sometimes. My handwriting is messy or whatever, but let me know what you guys think. Put some thumbs up in the chat. Put some in the chat. Like, let me know how I did. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, I love doing this. Whether you agree with me or not, like, that's not what I'm here for. Some people want Diddy to spend a lifetime in jail, and that's cool with me. Y'all know the community that I try to build here. I want a community where we could literally talk and have a discussion amongst each other. But I started off by giving you my opinion. Now it's your turn to give me your opinion. Your turn to let me know what you think about the facts that I gave you, okay? Let me just see here, right? Felicia gave me a thumbs up. Christy gave me awesome job. Jassy said, thank you, Trent. Dorothy said, very good job. Thumbs up. Tez is still here, gave me pounds. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Cheryl said, take that now. You deserve it, Trent. Mia Richardson gave me a round of applause. Delilah said, freedom. Social media, not true. Okay, yeah. Good job, Trent. You're the man. Barbara said, Trent, you are awesome. Black Rose gave me some sort of emoji. Thank you very much. Fabulous reporting, Trent. Fair and real. Thank you. Pretty girl. I don't know how you pronounce that last thing. Laura said, great job. Inherited Banana said, I have no options or opinion. Patricia said, thank you. And that flag is from somewhere. I know that. That's like a St. Lucia flag or something. Somebody says, you good dude, bro. Ellis said that. Thank you. Samantha gave me a round of applause. Tanji Williams said, thank you. Word on the piece of paper said they're going to drag this appeal to the whole Trump term and pardon at the end. Maybe. Jazzy said, awesome job reporting. Thomas said, good job. Marcus said, free Diddy. Somebody said, F MAGA. Do you think you'll get out? You think he'll get out with an appeal? I think there's grounds for mistrial sometimes. I think there's grounds for appeal. There's grounds for everything. Like, I'm going to be here, trust me, probably 4 or 5 more times. Because, you know, any sort of appeal, any sort of anything, I will be there, okay? All right, let me know some questions. Did I see Ben? No, Ben didn't come out, but there were so many people here, and there was guys, let me just show you something. All the legacy media is still here. That's CNN, ABC, NBC, like they're still here. Like there's still people, man. So because there was such a big crowd, I think Ben didn't want to come out, but I'll be back and Ben will say what's up to me, man. Great best wishes from UK. Thank you, Herman Irish. Somebody said great, Angel Wood said great job. Always an awesome story by Trent J. Jackson. Iris Wood said, bravo, Trent. Tracy Renee said, unbiased, the best. Thank you very much. Steven said, great job. Diddy got off easy. Great lawyers. Yes, at the end of the day, 4 years, he was facing life. He got sentenced to 4 years. You know, time served has already been 3 with time off. Even if he doesn't get out on appeal, that's 2 years he's in jail. He was facing life. So it's still a win. It's still a win. I just don't like the fact that they use the evidence from a conviction that was not guilty. But I already said my piece, so I'll stop talking. Cyrus said, Trent, why didn't any government witnesses speak up for them at sentencing? Well, Mia was going to say something. Well, hold on. Speak up for who? Why didn't any government witnesses? I guess I think the government probably felt like we don't need anything. I feel like with the pre-sentencing report, I feel like the government felt like they were pretty much, you know, they had it in the bag. That's kind of my opinion. Miss Know-It-All says, well done. Dorothy says, big up yourself, Trent. Rose Williams says, thumbs up, Trent. And Harriet Banana says, you're just showing me your opinion. Somebody said, okay, I'm not reading that. Outstanding reporting. Drexler Park said that. Mary, sorry if I'm butchering your names. I'm dyslexic, so reading this quick is even worse for me. Mary Tenzo said, great job. Anti-social media says, I'm right here. Let's go get some food. Yeah, everybody has left, and people are texting me like, "Yo, Trent, we're here." They're going to get drinks, they're eating, but y'all know me, man. I'm here for you guys, so all my friends could wait. I'll meet up with them. It's only 7:30, all right? So I'll meet up with them after. Mindy said, "You are the realest out there." Thank you so much, man. Love that, guys. Thomas said, "Love your unbiased reporting. Thank you." Amy the Black Rose said, "Rat emojis, lots for real." Ben, where are you? Ben, the two of us, we look no more. Yo, and do you guys know that there's also a squirrel friend that I have here? I forgot what you guys named him, but I didn't see the squirrel. I think he's afraid of me. I was like, "Yo, what's up? What up? What up?" Marcus Avery said, "Free Diddy, free Diddy, free Diddy, free Diddy, free Diddy." Coney said, "Awesome reporting, Trent. Have a great night." Thank you, Connie. I think I pronounced your name. I'm very sorry. Trina said, How do you know Diddy hasn't changed?" I never said he hasn't changed. I just said we don't know if he has changed, and you can't just take his words. But I did say, even if you don't look at his words, if you look at the fact that he was a billionaire and he had houses everywhere and now he's sleeping with 25 other dudes, that has to change you. Nobody could tell me nothing. Mars. Hey, Mars, what's up? Mars in the chat. Great job, T. I don't agree with many points, but great reporting. Mars is probably going to drag me after this for sure. But Mars, we'll talk. We'll talk. Awesome job from Seattle. And by the way, you see that? Even my friends will have completely different views and completely disagree and think Diddy should go to jail for life, but we'll talk and still be friends. And Mars has an opinion about Trump and I have a different opinion. So even outside of work, I'm still the person that always sees things from both sides and has different opinions. So that's how I live my life. Trader says, Simon says, "Put your hands up." I don't know what that means, but all right. Simon says, "Put your hands up." Maybe it's from this. Put your hands up. Chrissy F gave me a thumbs up. Marcus is keep on saying free Diddy. Oh, the flag was from Bahamas. All right. Patrice Davis, flag was from Bahamas. Shout out to Bahamas. Great job, even though I think you've been on Diddy's D. Caroline said that. Mary said, Jesus is king. Angel Wood said, pardon. Yeah, that's the next thing. Fantastic coverage. Trina said, awesome, Trent, you rock. Lisa Ye, who's now a member of the Out Louders. Thanks, Trent, for update. Thanks, Will, for the membership. Have a great night, Out Louders. For real, man. Michelle said, great job. Mindy, you did a great job. Thank you, Trent. Trent, why didn't any government witnesses speak up for them? Like I just said, I think it's literally because I think they had it in the bag and I don't think it would change much. I don't think anything that was said today really changed the judge's opinion. I think the judge will never know. I think the judge was probably prepared to give Diddy the 50 months and done, but we'll never know. You know what I mean? Maybe he was going to do 60 and maybe after the kids he brought it down, but we do not know. Mia was going to testify, but apparently from what they said that after Mark Agnifilo sent that letter saying that, she's making a fake voice and he didn't really favor her, she didn't want to testify, which I thought was smart. Miss Know-It-All said, well done. Crystal said, yo, Trent, Melva is disappointed in you. Melva, you're mad at me? All right, Melva, I hope I still have you as an Out Louder though, but I got to tell you my opinion. Rose Wright said, Trent, where's everyone? Everybody is still here. The crowd is gone, but the media is still here. I know CNN is mad. Chrissy said, wow. Where you at? I'm still right in front of the courthouse. All right. So, all right. Trump will pardon Diddy. Great job. Jeez, I didn't know there was still so many comments. Okay. I'm going to scroll all the way down to the end. Hold on. There's somebody that wrote a paragraph. Yes, it changes you because you're vulnerable in any environment with no security. Amazing job, Trent. Love your inspiring messages. Thank you very much. Love you, Trent. Great coverage. You are absolutely right about everything you said, period. Wow, thank you, Charlene Shuttler. Really appreciate that. Enjoy the city. Thank you very much. Trent Out Loud, how do you not have your own talk show? I'm working on it, and I have my own show on YouTube, all right? So tune in daily, all right? I'm on YouTube daily, and that is my show. That's new media. You don't have to be on NBC and ABC anymore. So I have my own show daily on YouTube. It comes out at night. Make sure you sign up for the membership. You don't even have to sign up for membership. It's free. Just go to YouTube every day. Follow me on Instagram at The Trent Out Loud Show. Thank you, purple yellow. All right, let me scroll down. I love all the love, man. Thank you, guys. Thank you. All right. Boom. We did 2 hours and 5 minutes. All right, does anybody have any questions for me? Any last minute things? Did I touch on everything? Is there anything you guys don't know about? Or can I log off and take the rest of the night off? Let me know. Maybe we had bad luck. Somebody said thank you. Always enjoy your channel. Jay Jackson, thank you. Did they consider time served? No, the judge says he's not considering time served. He's not even considering 14 months. He thinks that's ridiculous. With the testimony from Jane and Cassie, he feels like that would be insulting to women and he needs to set an example, and 14 months is too low, 11 years is too high, and he feels 4 years. If you think about something, they wanted 11 years. The prosecution wanted 11 years. Diddy's team wanted 1 year. He gave him 4 years. So he actually went less than half of what the government was asking. So 11, half would be 5.5. He gave him 4. So kind of gave a little bit of a nod to the defense team. Excuse me. Let me see here. Take care. How long will the lawyers file appeal? I'm not too sure, but pretty soon. Hey, take care.
See you.
I just told everybody we'll be back. The
Yeah,
appeals,
the
the whatever. This is the Nat day.
Right?
They already set a date?
I don't know. Somebody said the 17th. I don't know. You heard it here first.
Yo, exclusive
Drop a
Trent
hand
Out Loud channel. Oh, crazy.
See
All right,
you soon.
all right, take care. Diddy out in 6 months. Will they reduce the 50 months because he served? Yes, the judge didn't say that, so I don't want to say for fact, but from everything that I know, you always get time served. They can't just say, well, you've been sitting down for 14 months. So I'm 99% sure he'll get time served. The feds don't give good behavior. Really? All right, check on that. I'm like I said, I'm 95% sure. I'll let you know by tomorrow. I'll check on that. Trent, you did a good job. I'm here to bring the chaos. Thank you. I love that, Caroline. Thank you. Where is the $500,000 fine going to go to? It goes to the city, it goes to the government, whatever. That's nothing for Diddy though. Somebody says, do you know if he got probation in additional to time? Yes, after the 50 months, he'll get supervised probation. I think for 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. Sarah says, no, Trent, he gets credit for time. No, Trent, he gets credit for time served. Yes, exactly. That's what I just said. Take care and God bless. It sounds like time served for what he got. Just saying, yeah. Justin Bieber, okay, we're not talking about Justin Bieber. Great job. I got worried. Pink microphone guy was going to attack you. No, don't worry, man. I can handle my own. Plus, I got people out here. You saw how my guy was just like, yo, we're not doing this here on Trent Out Loud show. My boy came up real quick. No probation. Have a good dinner tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you guys for the super chats. I'll be using it on my dinner tonight. Appreciate you. Yolanda said, how would you describe Diddy's mental state after hearing that decision? It's a very good question. He was sad. He was a bit broken, but he wasn't like devastated. Like I said, it wasn't like, it wasn't gasps. And I think Diddy's lawyers did a good job in preparing him, saying, yo, we're going to ask for 14 months. We might get it, but yo, the PSR, the pre-sentencing report, is saying 60 months. So be prepared, put in your mind already that you're getting 60 months. That's how you have to go in. You have to go in saying, yo, the pre-sentencing report, that is an unbiased group, is looking at everything and they're saying 60 months. So you got to go in saying, I'm at 60, how do I get it less? So I think that's where a little bit of the positivity was from Diddy, where he's like, all right, well, I was supposed to get 60 months. He gave me 50 months. So something I did here today worked because I just knocked off 10 months. I'm probably getting time served, so that's 14. So in his head, he's like, yo, I got to spend 2 more years in jail. It's not going to be MDC anymore. He'll get transferred to a real jail, which will probably not be best, but he'll maybe have a little bit better conditions. And he knows now he could work on appeal, he could work on mistrials, and he could work with Trump. So he wasn't defeated or broken, but of course he wasn't like smiles. You can take the rest of the night off, get some rest and chill. Thank you very much. Somebody said, be careful. Hell yeah, my brother. Do you have your own show? Be safe. Yes, I have my own show on YouTube every day, daily, even on the weekends. Yes, Trent, log off and enjoy your night. Thank you very much, Pat. Where are you going to now? I can't tell y'all where I'll be at, man. I can't tell you, but we going out, man. Content creators are going out. Feds do 85% of their time. We looking for you this morning. Glad we found you. Thank you, man. Judge was prejudiced against Diddy. I don't know if he was prejudiced or I don't know if he was like, I feel like that last speech about women, I feel like maybe he had DV in his childhood or background and he was like, yo, I don't like hearing what you've done to women and these women have came and testified, so I'm gonna make an example of you for that. I don't know if it's prejudice against him exactly. Somebody said, I brought an outfit and medals from eBay. I get thanked for my service, free food, free drinks. Okay, I'm not too sure what that is about. Yolo landed. How did it react? Okay, I just answered that. No good time for the feds. No good time for the feds. We're going to look into this. No good time for the feds. Good day. Okay. Trent wants that smoke. Thank you for doing this for us. No problem. I hope you guys felt like you were in there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to give you the emotions and when they cried, when they didn't cry. Like, even if you get the transcripts, it's like, it's just words on a paper. And I try to, like, give you guys and emote the emotions that they're going through. And this is not recorded, right? Like, you'll never be able to see this. It's just stuck in my head. And I do my best to kind of, like, act it out for you guys. So I'm glad you guys appreciate that. Trent, you need a bodyguard. People are crazy. It's all right, man. I'm 6'2". I can handle myself. That guy was a clown. Don't worry about that. My man, I thought you looked familiar. You look like David Justice from the Braves. I've heard that before. Yes, tell us. Minimum security. Diddy will be out in 2 years. Okay. 3 years, 1 month to be correct. The textbook straight good mode. Feds buy time from. Okay, I cannot read that. All right, I think I have everything answered, everyone's question. You did great. Hold on, can he get out for good behavior? Yeah, if he gets on good behavior, he'll only do 85% of his time. Yes, I am 6'2". I am 6'2". I'm a 6'2" Jamaican, all right? Both my parents, I don't play. No, it's just I don't want anybody to bring that kind of energy, okay? Like, I don't want no problems, all right? I want to be nice and cool. I got people that will handle for me, like this guy right over here, all right? Anybody rolls up, this guy's 260 right here, and I got another guy here, all right? People want to roll up, I'm good. All right, y'all. Wow, somebody from India. Shout out to India. Thank you for tuning in. All right, I will be out of here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel. We do about a 50 or an hour minute show, 50 minutes to an hour show every day. We cover entertainment, political, and viral news. We also have social discussion. There's also memberships. We do lives. Subscribe to the channel, watch the shows. Don't forget to like, get the algorithming. And if you really like the channel, sign up for the Out Louder membership where you get exclusive videos, live content, and I do vlogs once a week where I get a little bit more personal and intimate with you. Thank you guys for the past 2 days. Like I said, this is not the last time. I'll be back for appeals and I'll have a show on tomorrow night. Thank you for tuning in. Peace.